Myself, Mr. H.T. Mate, Department of Botany, RBNB College, Sri Rampur. Today, we are going to study T.Y.B.Sc Botany, paper first, that is BO 331, that is a cryptogamic botany. And from this course, the topic number 6, that is the Bryophyta, general characters, classification, etc. Now first, there are about 960 genera all over the world, and at the same time there are 24,000 species of the Bryophyta are found all over the world. Now definition of the Bryophyta, these are the non-vascular cryptogams. Non-vascular, that means in these plants there is no tissue differentiation. Vascular elements are completely absent, that means xylem and phloem are absent. And they are also called as the cryptogams because they are non-flowering plants and they reproduce with the help of spores. So such a type of plants are called as the cryptogams, that is, these are non-vascular cryptogams. Now the general characters. Number one, that is simple non-vascular. Simple, that means there is no tissue differentiation, and non-vascular, that means vascular elements, that is xylem and phloem, are completely absent. So they are also called as the vascular cryptogams. Now number two, water is essential for the fertilization of these bryophytes, because when anthrozoids become mature, they swim through the thin film of water and reaches up to the archegonia for the process of fertilization. So water is very, very essential for the act of fertilization, and if there is no water, then there is no fertilization takes place in the Bryophyta. Now next, that is the alternation of a generation. Now these bryophytic plants shows completely two distinct generations. One is the gametophytic and another is the sporophytic, and they continuously alternate each other. First, that is the gametophytic generation, which gives the gametes, and after this fertilization takes place and zygote, that is embryo, takes place, which is get developed into the sporophyte, and after sporophyte there are the spores, and these spores are again germinate into the gametophytic generation. So there are continuously two generations, that is sporophytic and gametophytic, and they continuously alternate with each other. Now next, that is the Rixia and Markantia. This shows the prostrate thallus-like structure. For example, Rixia and Markantia, their thallus-like structure is like this. It is a prostrate. It creeps over the substratum. That means they are horizontal. But there are some species, they show the upright vertical that is the thallus structure. For example, Finaria and Polytrichum, they show the upright structures. For example, this is the Polytrichum. It is getting developed into the rhizome, rhizoids, stem and leaves. But here, these Rixia and Markantia, which are the lower cryptogams, they have only the thallus-like structure. But here it is getting differentiated into rhizome, rhizoid, leaves and stem, etc. Now next, that is the gametophytic phase in the life cycle of this bryophyte is long-lived and it is conspicuous, and it is independent also. While the sporophytic phase is short-lived and it is a parasite on the gametophyte, that means this sporophytic generation is developed on the gametophyte. So it is also called as the parasite on the gametophyte, and it is short-lived. Then roots are completely absent, but instead of root, rhizoids are getting developed. And these rhizoids are of the two different types, like this. So these are the two different types of the rhizoids. Number one, these are the smooth-walled rhizoids. And second type, that is the tuberculated type of the rhizoids, and they are important for anchorage and also for the absorption of water, mineral, etc. Now next, that is the Rixia, some bryophytic plants. For example, Rixia shows the scale. So this is the scale. It is a multicellular and it is very, very thin, and they are developed from ventral side of the thallus, that means from the lower side. They are very small in size. Now, vegetable reproduction, it takes place with the help of tubers. For example, on this Rixia, some circular structures are getting developed and they are called as the tubers. And these tubers are formed when conditions are unfavorable, and they get detached from the parent plant, and when the conditions are favorable, they can germinate into the new thallus. While there is another type of vegetative reproduction, that is, it takes place with the help of a gamete. Now these gamete are developed, for example, on Marchantia. Now these are the gamete cup. This is called as the gamete cup. Now in the gamete cup there are the gamete and they are dumbbell shaped. They have short stalk, and now the vegetative reproduction takes place with the help of this gamete body. So there are the two types of the vegetative reproduction. That means number one, it takes place with the help of a tuber, and another with the help of the gamete or the gamete cup. Now next, that is the sexual reproduction is always oogamous found in the Bryophyta, because the archegonia, that means the egg, is dominant in the life cycle of the Bryophyta, and so the type of a sexual reproduction is oogamous. Next, that is the male reproductive structure, that is the antheridia. Now it is specially developed. It has a jacket. It is a club shaped in outline. So this is the jacket. This is the male reproductive structure in the Bryophyta, and it is called as the antheridia. This is the stalk. This is the jacket. These are the androgenial cells. Now this is the male reproductive structure found in the Bryophyta, which is called as the antheridia. Now it has a short stalk, and above this there is the body, and it is somewhat circular or elliptic or club shaped in outline. It has a protective cover which is called as the jacket, and generally it is a single layered. Inside this there are very large number of the cells, and these cells are called as the androgenial mother cell. Now from each androgenial mother cell there develop the antherozoid. So this is the proper male reproductive part. Generally it is coiled. So this is about the male reproductive structure in the Bryophyta. Now there is the female reproductive structure which is called as the archegonia. This archegonia is a flask shaped. Now this is the archegonia. It is a flask shaped in outline, and it has the two parts. The upper narrow part is called as the neck. So this is the neck, and neck has some specific type of the cells. These cells are called as the neck canal cells. They are 3, 4, 5, 6, or it is according to the species. Now at the top there are the cover cell or lead cell. Their number is 2 to 4. It is again according to the species. And toward the lower side there is a circular bulbous structure which is called as the venter. And venter has two cells. The upper small cell is called as the ventral canal cell, and lower large cell is called as the egg. So this is the female reproductive structure which is called as the archegonia. It is found in the Bryophyta. Now after this there is the fertilization. When egg and anthrozoid become mature, then with the thin film of water, very large number of the anthrozoid swims toward the archegonia, and through the neck they enter in the neck canal, and finally from this neck canal they reaches up to the egg. But finally only one unites with the egg, and there is a formation of the zygote, which is diploid in nature. So zygote is diploid because it is formed after the fertilization, that means after the union of the egg cell and anthrozoid cell. So this zygote is diploid. Now this zygote is get developed into the embryo, and embryo after division and redivision is get developed into the next generation, which is called as the sporophyte. That means zygote is get developed into the embryo, and finally embryo by division, redivision and cytodifferentiation is get developed into the next generation of the Bryophyta, which is called as the sporophyte. Now this sporophyte has a specific type of structure. For example, in Carcinia, this is the protective covering called as the jacket. This is the foot, this is the seta, and this is the capsule. This is the jacket. These are the spore. Now this is the second generation of the Bryophyta. For example, in Carcinia, the sporophyte shows three different types of the parts, that is the foot, seta and capsule. Now here in the next generation, that is in the sporophytic generation, there is no rhizoid, there is no stem and there is no lip also, but there are another three different types of the parts, that is the foot, seta and capsule. This is a this is sporophyte is a parasite on the gametophyte. That means it is developed on the thallus tissue of the gametophyte, so it takes the food material from the thallus tissue of the gametophyte. So there are three parts. The lowest part, that is the foot, it is the bulbous. It takes the food material from the gametophyte. Now the food material which is here, that is in the in the foot, this food material is transported to the developing sporogenous tissue with the help of a seta. Now above this there is the capsule, which is a sac-like structure. It has a protective wall called as the jacket, and inside this there are very large number of the spores. But before this there is the sporogenous tissue, and this sporogenous tissue is divided with the help of meiosis, and there is formation of the spores, and these spores are haploid in nature because they are formed after meiosis. That means all these spores are haploid in nature. Now these spores, they germinate into the first generation or into the next generation, which is called as the gametophyte. So in this way, in the life cycle of the Bryophyte, there are the two generations. First, that is the gametophytic generation. Second, that is the sporophytic generation. And from this spore, again the next generation is getting developed by the germination of these spores. That is, development of the gametophyte takes place. Now about the economic importance of the Bryophyta. There are some economic importance of the Bryophyta as number one, that is the sphagnum pit. That is the sphagnum pit. These are nothing but the compressed pieces, fragments of the sphagnum, and it is called as the sphagnum pit, and it is variously used. For example, it is used as a fuel in Netherlands or in European countries. Now it is also used for the alcohol preparation. Now it has a very industrial economic importance are there for the production of ammonia, paraffin, etc. Now it is used in horticulture. Sphagnum is a water retaining capacity, so it is used for packing the live materials in the transport. Now, Bryophyta in medicine. For example, this Markantia is used in liver disorder. Polytrichum is used to dissolve the kidney stone. And mosses are also used for, or they are experimental use, and they are called, for example, they are used for the study of genetics and also plant morphology and plant physiology. Now, bryophytes are also rock builders. For example, this hypnum has calcium oxalate crystals are there, so it is also used for the rock builder. Now, about the classification of the Bryophyta. Now, classification of the Bryophyta, it is according to the G.M. Smith. Now, G.M. Smith included all the bryophytic plants into the division, and that division is called as the Bryophyta. And this division Bryophyta is divided into the three classes. From this, class number 1, that is Hepaticopsida or Hepatici. Class number 2, that is Anthocerotopsida or Anthoceroti. And third class, that is the Bryopsida. Now, this class Hepaticopsida is divided into three different types of the orders. Order number 1, that is the Spherocarpels, number 2 Markantials, and number 3 Jungermannials. While class Anthocerotopsida has only one order, and it is Anthocerotales. While the last, that is the Bryopsida, is divided into the three subclasses. Subclass number 1, Sphagnobria. It has only one order, that is the Sphagnals. While second subclass, that is the Andriobria, and it has only one order, that is the Andrials. While subclass number 3, that is the Eubria, and it has the two orders. Order number 1, that is the Funerales, and number 2, that is the Polytrichals. Thank you.